Tandit says Ukraine is ready for a compromise in POW swaps. Photo from UNIANWe are ready to discuss the POW lists. We have not made any changes to the list with 306 persons. All these persons on that list committed crimes against the integrity of Ukraine. Their lists were submitted by the self-proclaimed republics in Donbas, the so-called ORDLO. Some 74 Ukrainian hostages are at stake. This is a very serious effort. We hope that the POW exchange process will in fact resume soon. We will not speak about the time frame. Ukraine is ready for this process in order to transfer those people there under laws in effect, he said, Channel 112 Ukraine reported. Meanwhile, the whereabouts of 96 Ukrainian prisoners in Donbas are known as the moment, he said. The Ukrainian side is ready for any compromise in negotiations with representatives of the ORDLO to ensure the return of all Ukrainian hostages home, he added. ORDLO LPR leader says he won't block POW swaps with Ukraine. Each of these persons on the militant list has certain status. It took long from the moment when the story began to unfold, and many of those on the list have been either released under the current legislation or brought to trial. However, all our hostages have no status there, i.e. decisions are made in Moscow, orders are issued, and they can be released the next day. We are ready to get them back at any time, he explained, adding that there is a certain procedure in Ukraine which we are also ready to apply. According to Tandit, details of the exchange of hostages and POWs will be discussed at talks in Minsk on November 29. The SBU and the Center for the Release of Hostages will ensure the speedy transfer of these militants there. We are ready for any compromise, he said. As UNIAN reported earlier, Russian President Vladimir Putin on November 15 told his Ukrainian political operative Viktor Medvedchuk that he would do everything in his power to facilitate an exchange of prisoners between militants in Donbas and the Ukrainian government. Putin was reported to have held a telephone conversation with the leaders of Russian-backed militants in Donbas in what appears to be the first-ever Kremlin-confirmed communication with the militant chiefs. Member of the Minsk Trilateral Contact Group's humanitarian subgroup and First Deputy Parliament Speaker Irina Gerashenko said in turn that 162 Ukrainians had been held captive in occupied Donbas as of November 24. The whereabouts of 94 of them were established. If you see a spelling error on our site, select it and press CTR Lenter News Politics 1520 DPR militants comment on possible unification with LPR 1140 No Free Poland without Free Ukraine. Deputy of Sejm 1100 U.S. will never accept Russia's annexation of Crimea. Volker 0114 Volker on arming Ukraine. No decision here. 1105 Russian-built Belarusian nuclear plant stirs concern. 1015 Co-made lift Russia chief amid fears of Moscow quitting organization. 0950 Putin's proposal for Ukraine another trap for Trump. WP 1349 de facto authorities in Russian-annexed Crimea to challenge sanctions. 2240 Oklahoma, New York soldiers conduct medical drill in Ukraine. 1740 Hungarian FM Ukraine must revoke education law. 2229 Poroshenko and Brussels. Ukraine seeking for unions with EU. 2150 Opinion why EU officials criticize Ukraine. 1930 LPR self-styled leader Plotnitsky steps down. 1750 Final declaration of 5th AP summit released. 1612 Eastern Partnership Summit Declaration agreed. Source 1526 Junta on Ukraine relations moving in the right direction. 1411 PACE refuses to hold debate on Russian delegations return. 2230 Poroshenko thanks Tusk for firm support of Ukraine. 1325 Law on tours of Russian performers comes into force in Ukraine. 1150 Ukraine border guards intensify checks amid escalation in Luhansk. 2240 Poroshenko has greatest chances of winning presidential elections. Poll 2230 Opinion check. Comrade 1950 Putin preparing Russia's economy for war. 1631 EU slaps sanctions on top official in Ukraine. Sevastopol Media 1242 Ex-Tax Chief Klimenko charged with treason. 1130 U.S. company already sells lethal weapons to Ukraine. 0010 coup in LPR militant chief Plotnitsky flees to Russia. 2330 Kremlin elaborates on issues Trump-Putin discussed over phone. November 21, 1428 Ukraine expels Belarusian diplomat as retaliation. 2120 media claim evidence emerges of Odessa mayor's Russian citizenship. 2110 Poroshenko says more destinations are to open to Ukrainians. Vasafri 1640 Ukraine's State Bureau of Investigation completely replaces PGO 1356 EUAM Ukraine mandate extended until May 2019. 1208 Some 25 DPR militants detained in Donetsk region last week. 0923 Ukraine issues call for Canadian defensive weapons. Media